Joanna Bexon's acting class.
Yes.
You give a monologue to an empty chair before a live audience. Describe the setting and explain what you talked about.
I already cried once. Joanna Bexon is this wonderful woman who teaches in acting. I think she still does, but back then, she specialized, but she would give discounts to stand-up comedians who wanted to take acting. And this is when I was starting in stand-up, and all of us kind of thought, it's always good, this is maybe TV. This was way early. And a couple of us signed up for her class, and one of the things she had to do was for us to write our own monologues. And then she put on a little recital, and they put it on in like a walk-up in Manhattan, an actual apartment, where we would go room to room. The audience would follow you room to room. And in this room, Susie put on her monologue with this and that. And in this room, and then I put on my monologue. And my monologue was, I don't want to sound sappy and schmaltzy, but it was a conversation with my father. It was like I was having a conversation with my father. So it was funny. It was talking about my father thought he was a very dry comedian, and he would have these jokes that nobody would laugh at except me, and everybody else, my wife, would be pissed off at him. But he also was he was a guy, this sounds cliche, but never said I love you, couldn't be demonstrative, just he had a rough time growing up. I don't hold this against him. That's just who he was. And, that this is like a common denominator with stand-up comedy, with performers in general. There's always some negligent parent, I guess, which I guess you can thank God. If there'd be no entertainment, we'd all have to join bowling leagues.
Yeah, right.
But so I had I had it out with him. I kind of just addressed that in this acting monologue of.
What'd you say?
Oh, geez, what did I say? I think I remember saying. I remember telling him I had been on an audition like maybe a month before in real life, and one of they asked you these candid questions, and one of them was, who's your hero? Who would you say is your hero? And a lot of guys were, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and the first thing that popped in my head was my father. And I remember in this monologue telling my father that I said, you were my hero, and I couldn't figure out why. And it's just dawned on me because that's who I want you to be. I want you to be my hero. And, cut all this! and it got a little, it got a little verklempt, as they say.
You were really proud of how you did in that performance. So
I don't know if I was proud. I got good feedback.
As was everybody that was there.
I didn't throw the mic down and say, follow that, next lady. But I got good feedback. It was probably the first time any of my friends or my acting coach or teacher had seen me do something with a little gravitas to it, It was my first venture into that.
How do you think his lack of affection when you were growing up impacted you?
Well, like I say, I don't know. Is that why you become a performer? I don't know. I can't say that I do this because, but I always joke. I do have that joke. If my father hugged me once, I'd be an accountant right now. I wouldn't need to do any of this, One hug would have been all it would take. But I do try to do, I do find myself trying very hard to be affectionate myself with my kids and it's not easy. It's not from my background and all. I do it, but it doesn't come easy. I noticed that.
For more clips from this interview, visit GrahamBensinger.com.